children need to be seen and see themselves in the work on television and books. And in being seen, they begin to develop. And children are humanity's most valuable resource. The future of humanity is under development in them as they play.
Welcome to the award-winning Authors Show, where we guide professionals in crafting a lasting legacy through the art of self-publishing. We help you remove self-doubt from your mind with our proven process to become a published author. We have helped authors all over the world to publish their books since 2002. I'm your host, Umina, CEO of Halo Publishing International. If you're ready to become an award-winning author, let's get started. I'm so excited to now talk to Sally after her book's been published. And I invited Sally on my show because, well, she's just a bundle of joy, number one. I mean, those are the clients I absolutely love to work with, Sally, you know that. But I want to introduce you, Sally Kaczynski, author of All in a Day's Play. She's going to share some of her behind the scene experiences. And I just want to begin with thank you for trusting Halo with your baby. I know we had some fun with all the elements, all the partnerships, right? We're going to talk about that too. So let's begin there, because I think that before I even get into all the other questions I have for you, you have this amazing partnership with Mindy and Margot. And the three of you kind of collaborated on this. One you held your hand this way, the other one was holding your hand the other. Can you explain how this came together with the three of you?
Sure. At one point, we all taught in Arts Magnet High School. Margot would come in into my classroom and help me as a theater teacher develop parts of props and scenery that my students could create, and therefore feel like they had a hands-on in the creation of the whole production rather than just being an actor on a stage.
Okay.
And Mindy is a creative writer, published author, and really, really good friends. And I think all of the artists at our school have this common bond of really helping each other express ourselves artistically. That's how.
And you see, like, you need every single, like, it takes a tribe to write a book, is what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
It really does. And I love how you just take care of each other, nurtured each other. Even Margot was so dedicated to the illustrations and bringing your story to life. And you're right, Mindy's got the voice to help you to bring yours to fruition through the story. One of the things, too, that I really loved is, as we were talking about this book, is that we added the Spanish part into it. Talk to me, or talk to even to our listeners, what was the partnership that you developed that made you make that decision? Because it wasn't like, oh, let's just put it in Spanish.
No, it wasn't like that at all. You know, belonging to an artistic community is such an advantage to creation of work. And one of my good friends is the kind of head honcho at Read to Grow. And I asked her one day at her 40th birthday party, what is it that's missing in children's books? And she said, Spanish. So I thought about that, and I thought, well, I don't know if my book really lends itself to that. But after talking with you and understanding, you know, how your network works, you made it really easy to do that. And so I said, well, why not? Let's see where it goes. Absolutely. And ultimately, I think it's in Spanish that my largest audience for this book will ultimately be, because I have discovered that there is a whole world of bilingual books out there, and I think mine fits into that. So
it absolutely does. It absolutely does. I love it too, because in the United States, you know, we're finally getting into, yes, we have to have another language. It's mandatory all over the world. Everyone's speaking 2, 3, 4 languages. So for me, even as a publisher, having the international presence, you know, we're looking to bring that type of level of books out there that have the bilingual feature, so that we can have children learn Spanish, vice versa, learn English. And I think it's a great tool. Well, Now let's just dive in. What inspired you to write your story?
Well, it was COVID, and I had the previous Halloween to COVID before it all shut down. I had been in Washington, D.C., visiting my sister and watching her granddaughter play. And she was 18 months old, and I watched her with board books. And the game was not to read the board book, but to run between myself and the basket, which contained the board books, and just run back and forth and hand me the book, take the book back and bring it back to the basket, pick up another book and bring it back. So I just kind of was watching that. I mean, I am an observer and a watcher of human interactions, no matter where they begin. And so she was kind of the seed that was in my mind. And then when COVID hit, everybody was feeling kind of low and feeling isolated. So one morning I just wrote one little rhyme and sent it to Margot. And I said, do you want to work with me on a fun project? And of course, she said yes. And I said, well, send me a sketch. And she sent me a sketch that was so beyond what I imagined that my words elicited that I said, well, we decided to do it together. And it is based, if I have any name for this project between Mindy, Margot, and myself, it's a friendship project.
It absolutely is. And I feel you brought me all in. I got to meet your friends. Well, actually, Mindy introduced you to me.
Yeah.
So that's amazing. And I think it means it has a special meaning for each of you. And you couldn't have done it without any part of anyone in that.
Right.
I think that's important as well.
It is.
When you talk about collaborating with the illustrator, so did you submit to Margot notes? Or did she just take your words and just bring them to action? How did that go?
Well, it was interesting to say the least, because what she initially sent me back led me to write more words and to see more images. Wow. And I just, each page in this book is an evolution of an idea of play and how it could best show that our ideas about play to the world, which is through joy and action. So it was slow because Margot is a brilliant artist besides doing this work with me. And she got many commissions in between that I would say to her, this is just something we're doing as friends. Go do your commissions. And when you have a moment, we'll work on it together again. Well, that took until now.
Sally, how long did it take, the whole process? You could tell us. How long?
I think 4 years.
Oh.
Not that we would be
2 years. We had 2 years in COVID, so that we don't count.
Right. And so when we were finally able to get together in her studio and really work out what we were going to try to bring to this book, I had told her, if you do the illustrations, I will get it published somehow, some way. I will give my very best and I think we've done that. But the only other thing I wanted to say about the process of working with Margot, she would create the image by hand. And then, because she's so talented and gifted, take it to the computer and been able to manipulate, add, distract things. Like, for example, the page with the school bus in it, initially there was no school bus. There was no father with a baby watching. Wow. Those things we added as we looked at the illustration, saying, how can we best describe and create a picture of what's really happening in this little sidewalk drawing.
Did either of you take pictures of being in her studio and developing this?
No.
Oh, those would be golden. You know how Dr. Seuss took pictures of him in his studio, and it's amazing that you shared that with her. And again, it took 4 years, but I guess when I look at it, it's just, it's the timing of it. I think it came out when you're ready. Everything prepares us for this moment. So maybe there was a lot that had to be developed, and Margot's schedule, like you had said, I mean, that you were, part of her life and she wanted to give you 110% and she did. And
Yes.
the book came out amazing. What advice do you have for parents and educators to encourage creativity and activity with children?
Well, um, I think the biggest thing that I would like to communicate is the importance of play and as a developmental tool in children's lives. Um, if you watch animals, the young ones play. They're active is important to their development physically, mentally, and socially, especially to play with one another. And so many of our illustrations, while some have children alone, involve other children working together and playing and developing that social skills that are so necessary to human
Especially
beings.
after, especially after COVID, just
Yes,
getting out
absolutely.
of not being alone, that feeling of being lonely and
Right. And
with children.
although we all have to learn as human beings how to be alone and how to entertain ourselves and how to do all of those other things, I think that especially today where children are so into a screen,
Yes.
looking at screens, that they need to move because there's something in the process of play and early childhood development, which I could go on and on forever, but I won't. Um, because I actually, if I have time for this little adage, when students would come to me in high school and they'd want to do a play, they didn't have any understanding that to act means to move. They thought it was to speak. And so I
Right.
would have to work so hard to get them back to the place where they could play and be free enough to move. So,
Show expression because that's the other thing, the gestures and everything, that's acting, not just,
absolutely.
oh, tough job you had.
It was fun though.
Oh,
It was wonderful to watch young people free themselves from all their preconceived behaviors of what it means to be a grown up and get back to that place where they were free to express.
yeah.
And that's very important in the creative process to feel that freedom to express honestly.
And you did it as you did through your book. Do you see that there will be a sequel or another story that you want to share with the world?
The only thing that I've been thinking about a little bit more is, and I haven't done any research into it or looked into it yet. Um, there's this thing where I rhyme some of the pictures, but others don't rhyme, and I got some feedback on that. And I know it's not coherent, but I don't think life is coherent. So sometimes it's good to have a pattern, but then interrupt the pattern. And that's why I'm thinking about poetry for children
Oh,
with illustrations, because I'm not sure that the rhythms that express themselves through poetry are something that children feel unless they say it.
okay.
I had a good mentor who said, you have to really say the words and hear the words and feel the rhythms to fully get the understanding of them. So I'm thinking about that a little bit. I don't know if I have the talent or gift to write these things, but
Say
I haven't
that.
tried it.
You already published a book. You can't say that anymore. You're an author now. You're in the book forever. What would be if you could give advice to an aspiring children's author? What kind of advice would you give that person?
Um, if you have an idea, I think the hardest thing in the artistic process is trusting your intuition and your own creativity, and then doing all that you can to see the fulfillment of that idea expressed. It's easy to have an idea. It is really hard, and it takes courage and commitment to get a product. It's like a play. You rehearse it,
Yeah.
rehearse it, rehearse it until it's ready. And I think you write and write and write until it's ready to be offered. This little book took forever to do. But other things that I have written and done not so long. This was just a special thing for us to do as friends. So I would say courage and commitment, and belief in your own self, in your work, to express your ideas in some form or fashion.
You really said what is exactly what I face when I talk to authors or writers that want to become authors. They're just afraid of the rejection or that someone's not going to like the story. And I said, you know what? There's millions of people out there that will. So I'd focus all my energy on the positive of
Absolutely.
because we don't have a crystal ball. We don't know who is going to be the next best-selling author. We don't
No.
know what doors will open because as an author, before being an author, those doors aren't open for us. So I look back at my career too, Sally, and I'm thinking, wow, had I not published my book, I wouldn't be having a podcast and you'd be a guest on my show. So you never know where the first step will lead you. But I always tell everyone, including you, and you know that, take the first step. And you did, and I'm proud of you. Very,
No,
very
thank
proud of
you.
you. I'm proud of your team. I'm very proud of you. And it's just taking some of the things that we learn as children. You and I both know what it really means, what the definition of play means. And to go out there, use your imagination instead of being on a couch for 8 hours on YouTube or what have you. All these social media platforms, it's sad. It's sad that we've lost that piece of our childhood, and to teach it to the youth, they just don't get it. So you and I are going to crusade. We're going to do it. We're going to keep putting books out there to teach these children how to do it. I can't believe we have to have books to teach them how to use their imagination, but you and I have that beautiful gift. I think that's what's amazing being now on this side of life, right, as we get older. What I want to do is tell our listeners how they can support you. Here we go. If you have children, you don't have children, you have grandchildren, buy books for your local school library, buy books for your friends. They're amazing. It's the time to buy the books. If you have friends that want to learn another language or they have a hard time teaching their children another language, Sally's book's bilingual. I absolutely love it. She went that direction with it. Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Goodreads, Books A Million. You can just Google Sally and you'll see how famous she is. But you can get those books. You can support her. Go to Amazon, give her a 5-star review. And if you want an autographed copy, well, then you're going to just have to find Sally on Facebook because I know she has her own inventory to autograph special copies. And I'm sure she has events and partaking in other things to announce herself as an author and the amazing message that she built in her book. Congratulations, Sally. I'm super excited for you. You really released your book at a perfect time because now everyone should buy the book. It's a great gift. And I want to be a partner with you. I hope that we can do more things together, publish more books, get amazing messages out there to the world. I thank you, and I hope to have another interview with you soon.
Okay, great. Have a great holiday
You too.
season.
Happy holidays too. Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you're ready to publish your book, please submit your manuscript on halopublishing.com, or you can download our free publishing guide to learn everything you need to know about the entire self-publishing process. Start writing your legacy today.